"Sir, your wife faked her death. I know where she is," the biker said to the billionaire. The rain hammered against the black marble of the headstone, a rhythmic drumming that matched the ache in Alexander Thorne's chest. 1 year, 365 days since the car accident took Elena. Or so the world believed. Alexander, a man who owned skylines and silenced boardrooms with a glance, knelt in the mud. He was the richest man in the state, yet he felt like a beggar pleading with the earth to give her back. A low rumble cut through the sound of the storm. Alexander didn't look up until the engine died. A man in worn leather stood by a Harley, rain dripping from his beard. This was Jax, a drifter, a nobody. "Sir, your wife faked her death. I know where she is," the biker said to the billionaire. Alexander didn't move. The words hung in the air, heavier than the thunder. "If this is a scam," Alexander warned, his voice low and dangerous, "I will bury you in this plot." Jax didn't flinch. He tossed a wet photograph into the mud. Alexander picked it up with trembling fingers. His breath hitched. It was Elena, alive, drinking coffee in a diner. The timestamp on the back was yesterday. "She's in Oak Haven," Jack said, lighting a cigarette against the wind. "Room 4. She's waiting for someone, not you." Betrayal burned hotter than grief. It consumed the oxygen in Alexander's lungs. He roared, grabbing Jax by his vest. "Take me there." The drive was silent. The limousine trailed the motorcycle through winding back roads, away from the city lights, into the shadows where Alexander's empire couldn't reach. As they arrived at the dilapidated motel, Alexander's heart pounded harder than it ever had during a merger. He kicked open the door to room 4. Elena stood by the window. She looked thinner, her hair chopped short, but her eyes were the same. She didn't scream, she didn't run. She just sighed, a sound of infinite exhaustion. "Alex?" she whispered.
"Why?" Alexander's voice broke, the anger draining into confusion. "I mourned you. I burned your dresses. I slept on your side of the bed. Was I a joke to you? Was our love just a cover story?" Elena stepped forward, tears finally spilling, cutting tracks through the dust on her cheeks. "It wasn't about leaving you. It was about saving you." She pulled a file from the drawer and slid it across the table. "Your partners, Alexander. The ones you trust. The accident wasn't an accident. They were coming for you next. I found the ledger. I knew if I stayed, they'd kill us both. If I died, they'd stop looking. They'd think the secret died with me." Alexander froze. The betrayal shifted shape. It wasn't infidelity, it was sacrifice. She had chosen to break his heart to keep it beating. She had lived in hell, so he could live in heaven. "I've been hunting them from the shadows," Jack spoke up from the doorway, his arms crossed. "She hired me, to watch over you, to make sure you stayed safe while she cleaned up the mess." Alexander looked at his wife. The woman he thought was a ghost was a guardian. But the cost was their life together. "Why come back now?" he asked, his voice barely audible. "Because I found the final name," Elena said, her voice trembling. "And it's someone close to you. I had to warn you." Alexander felt the cold truth settle in his bones. The danger wasn't over. The death was an illusion, but the threat was real. He looked at Elena, really looked at her, and realized the woman he loved had died that day too. In her place stood a soldier. He took her hand. It was cold. "We finish this," Alexander said, "together." "No," Elena pulled away, her grip firm. "You go back. Be the billionaire. I stay in the shadows. If they see me alive, the hunt restarts, and this time they won't miss." She kissed his cheek, a ghost's touch that lingered like smoke. "Love me enough to let me go. Again." Alexander walked out into the rain. He got into the limo. He was richer than God, yet poorer than the biker watching him leave. He had the truth, but he lost the lie that kept them safe. As the car pulled away, he looked back. The window was empty. Some secrets aren't meant to be kept. They are meant to be survived. And Alexander Thorne realized, as the city lights returned, that the loneliest place in the world isn't a grave. It's knowing the person you love is breathing, but you can never hold them again.